Afternoon. Welcome back to Moose Preparedness. I'm Moose, and yes, it's afternoon where I'm at, but wherever you are, hopefully you're having a good day. So we're going on with part 4 for our series of prepper guns. Things to consider, good, bad, and otherwise. So the last 3 we've covered so far have been the 22 long rifle, which we covered before. The very first one, lever guns. The second one went over a few calibers and why they're good and bad. Third one was revolvers. Brought up both black powder pistols as well as modern day guns. And then now I'm going to bring you to the one that most people recommend for a prepper gun. That's kind of your do-it-all. Even if it doesn't do anything like superbly well, it's your do-it-all. And that is the variable shotgun. So this is one of my shotgun setups. So if you'll notice, I've got the shotgun itself all set up to go, but I've got spare barrels. Well, why would I do that? Well, first off, shotguns are really unique because they can fire a large range of different types of ammunition. So this particular shotgun right now is set up with my turkey choke in it. And what this does is it gives me a little shorter barrel, but whenever I'm trying to aim at turkeys, which are you fire from the ground, this gives me the ability to keep that shot pattern really, really tight with that choke in there. It's also got a shorter barrel than, like, say, my goose guns or my goose barrel or my bird barrel, which is this one here. So what that enables me to do is now I have 2 or 3 different ways to fire. Like here, I'll do a size comparison. So you can see my bird barrel is significantly longer, probably about 4 inches. What that does is it allows me to shoot different types of fowl at different distances. The other benefit of having something that's, let's say, I don't know, in a turkey shotgun setup is that because this is shorter, it can, in a pinch, be used in a home defense situation. Shotguns are, I should say that shotguns really excel at close quarters kind of stuff. I think to quote Clint Smith from Thunder Ranch, he said, shotguns are great if you want to remove an entire piece of somebody from here and just take it off. Now, that doesn't mean you always have to, but when you're in close quarters and you're not worried about, let's say, collateral damage, or you don't have to make precision shots, shotguns, when they shoot out, they spray out lots of pellets, typically for most of their rounds, and that does allow you to hit more, if not accurately hit more. Now, some shotguns are incredibly accurate. My shotgun's fantastic for that. It's a Mossberg. This one just happens to be a semi-automatic. This is primarily my hunting gun, but I do have others that are meant more for tactical shooting or for home invasion, home protection style stuff. So that's one of the reasons why I really like shotguns, is that you can go, okay, turkey or home defense. Now I've got bird, but what's this long one? So this one is a slug barrel. Now, what is a shotgun slug? Well, for those of you who don't live in places where this is your only option to hunt, a slug barrel is specifically designed, I'll see if I can't get it up in the light for y'all. Ooh, super good camera graphics, right? That's a little dirty, but you see in there, you can see rifling. So what that is a shotgun slug enables you to get a saboted slug. So it's basically like a bullet or a chunk of lead, and it puts a spin on it similar to a rifle, and it pushes it out through the barrel. This gives you the ability to shoot things at much further distances than you could with, say, a shotgun with your standard pellets. So if you're hunting big game, so this used to be when I was hunting in certain areas, specifically they're hunting on military posts, they tend to go, okay, for this area here, it's shotgun slug only. And the reason why they do that is because a shotgun slug is not going to have the distance or the carry as a standard bullet would. So instead of, let's say, a 308, which I've hit targets out to just shy of 1,000 yards, that'll keep going. Versus a shotgun slug being super heavy and not having as much powder or as much pressure based off the design is not going to go as far. Other great parts about having a slug gun is that, or slugs in a shotgun, is that it is 1 ounce of leave me alone. So unlike most shotgun rounds that spray out pellets, you're talking about taking all that force and that energy and putting it behind a 1 ounce slug even if the person is wearing, let's say, body armor right here, it'll stop that. But let me tell you, the concussion from it or the weight from it, you're breaking bones relatively easily. I have taken one deer with this particular slug gun, and when I tell you that there was not a whole lot of movement afterwards, it was literally it hit, it dropped. Sometimes when you're shooting or hunting, you'll have animals get up and run. Shot placement wasn't that great. They might run, but when you have something like a slug gun, it literally has enough concussive force where I have not had issues. I say that for deer. For pigs, for example, I was doing some pig hunting down in Texas. I've watched them soak up multiple rounds of the most common home defense round. So the most common home defense round is this. It's a double-aught buckshot. So double-aught is just the size, so size 00. There's a whole bunch of different sizes. Number 4 tends to be a really good one. If you're legal to hunt with buckshot, a lot of states have outlawed it. But I've watched feral hogs take 2 rounds of double-aught buckshot that I placed very well, and then I had to finish them off with a sidearm, versus they have never walked away with a slug. It has been a one-stop shop for all of those. So anyway, highly consider if you're looking at a shotgun to get one. It doesn't have to be semi-automatic. I personally prefer pump guns for my home defense, strictly because of the fact that they're mechanical and there's less likely to have issues as it's cycling through the round if there's a load that didn't quite cycle through. Pump guns are just a lot easier to clear and then to maneuver, at least for me. But it could be just me, right? Side effects, some of the downsides of slug guns or shotguns. I'll use the term interchangeably, so I apologize if I'm confusing, but some of the downsides of shotguns. One, you typically don't get a ton of rounds in the gun. So for example, this hunting setup, the magazine tube is right here along the side. So it goes all the way through here, and you feed it underneath there through that hole. Dog hair, gotta love it. So this is only going to hold, because I've got a plug in it, it's going to have 3 rounds total. So it means I can have 1 inside the chamber, and then I've got 2 more that are hidden up in here for a reload. Most of them will have somewhere between 3 and 4 rounds if you use the full capacity, but hunting, they say most of the rules are you can only have X amount of rounds in it. Specifically, I think with duck hunting, I think it's 3. So I just leave the gun plugged up. So even if I didn't have the gun plugged up on some of the tactical guns I have, if I get it fully flushed out, you're still talking 8 rounds. Not bad, again, but you're talking, that's, if you compare it to, let's say, a modern handgun, just a Glock 19, the standard round capacity for that is 15 rounds on average. So you got 15 rounds in 9mm. Again, maybe it's comparing apples to oranges, but that is a consideration. The second consideration too is that shotguns have a significant recoil. Semi-auto shotguns tend to have less of a recoil because part of the inertia backwards is being used to cycle the bolt. So as the shotgun fires up and through and the round is going out, it gets trapped. Some of the gas gets trapped in there and gets pushed back. So this recoil is soaked up back here, so it's not kicking me too hard on the shoulder. If you have ever fired a 12 gauge shotgun with full loads or with, God forbid, magnum rounds, and it was not a semi-automatic, if you don't have that directly seated in your shoulder, it hurts. It will leave bruises. I've had some folks who said that they won't shoot shotguns before because some jerk goes like, "Oh yeah, you should go shoot this." And they don't hold it right, and it ends up just leaving just this massive bruise. So that's usually one of the biggest complaints, specifically with 12 gauge. So gauge determines the size of the round. So you got 12 gauge. I found 20 gauge is equally sufficient, and it's probably even better for my wife, or hell, even for me if I'm going to be shooting a lot. A family friend of ours is a competitive skeet shooter, and he frequently wins competitions based off of his 20 gauge because it allows him to get a faster follow-up shot for he has what they call an over and under. So the barrels are like this, and there's also side-by-sides like you see in the Western movies where it's like stagecoach shotguns. like that, but his over under is a 20 gauge, and it allows him to get, when they do skeet shooting and trap shooting, he's able to get faster on target. Now the downside for him is he's got only 2 shots before he has to reload, right? So if he misses, well, that sucks to be you. Other downsides of a shotgun is that their ammo is big and it takes up a lot of room. So I mean, if you compare, I'm gonna go small tour again. I'm moving, so please give us a little bit of grace in terms of the crap you see all behind me. This is your standard 9mm round. That is your standard 12 gauge round. So when you're talking about how much room does that take up in your pack, how much extra space, they're a lot. Now they're not significantly heavy. The slugs are, but when you compare just like a size factor of how many more, I mean, we're looking, here's a Glock magazine. It is 17 rounds. And there is a 12 gauge, comparatively speaking, to it. So you're talking for 1, 2, about the same size up, 2 up, 2 over. So 4 rounds-ish, give or take, 1 wide. 5 rounds will take up the same space, not the same weight, but the same space as 5 shotgun rounds. So that means you have to find out creative ways to carry them with you. So that's whether that's in a side saddle, whether it's not in a sling. I have a sling upstairs for mine that has kind of like a bandolier. It's just got a ton of different shotgun rounds on there. So that becomes an issue. And you don't have as many rounds for the space. So the standard shotgun round box comes with 25 rounds, and that takes up about the same space as 6 or 7 5.56 boxes, if I remember right. So we're talking a significant more pack out space. So again, good sides of it. If you are scared or you're moving and you are not sure that you can get a good sight picture with your rifle down the barrel every time, a shotgun, great for something that's close. So what's close? 10 yards, 20 yards. I know I've taken turkeys out to 40 yards. That's a far shot. Same thing with ducks, give or take. But we're talking they're only getting hit by, a handful of pellets. But if you're talking a person, 25, 30, 40 yards, you'll at least get something on body. So that's really good if you're worried about it. Again, close quarters, shotguns are great if you can keep them fed. So again, 1 bad dude, no problem. 15 bad dudes, problem. Again, if you have 15 bad dudes, you probably should have had more people and you're screwed up anyway, but you get the point. So that's kind of where I'm going at with the shotgun. I still think they have a viable spot. They're great for what they're great for. But don't consider this a long range weapon, but it's great to get you from, again, if you're getting a slug barrel where it gives you probably a distance of about, I've got mine 0 to 100 yards, and I've got the scope in there will go down to 150. That's really the farthest that I would consider even taking a shot. And even that's probably too far. The deer I took was at about 75, and you could already tell at that distance that round comes out, and it was dropping like a stone by the time it got past her. I mean, still hit with tons of force, but not ideal for something that's long range. So if you're looking for a long range engagement, probably not the gun to go to. But the cool part is that shotguns are available everywhere, and they're mostly legal in, I want to say, every state. Just have to be real careful in terms of which ones you get. If you're getting some of the more higher end ones, like your Benellis, like your Benelli M2s, M3s, M4s, Beretta, A1300, like the real nice ones for tactical shooting, just be careful that they are compliant since they're an imported gun. Some people will put on the extended tubes, things like that. Could get you into some trouble with the law. Again, if this shit hits the fan scenario, end of the world, maybe you don't care, but just to keep in mind. Other than that, shotguns are great. Not my typical go-to. I'm much more of a rifle pistol shooter, but obviously I have them in in my inventory. Maybe you should too. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, share. Let me know if you have a shotgun, what your experiences have been, and hope to hear from you guys soon. Take care out here.